There's a moment almost every woman has felt, but few can explain. A moment when a man standing in front of you suddenly feels different. He may not say anything bold. He may not make a move. In fact, he may be completely quiet, but something in the air changes. His eyes linger a little longer than normal. His body subtly turns toward you like you've become the center of his attention. His smile slows, softer now, warmer, carrying a quiet kind of tension. And in that tiny space between words, your heart begins to notice what your mind hasn't yet named. Chemistry, real attraction is rarely loud. It doesn't always arrive through obvious flirting or dramatic gestures. More often it whispers through body language, through the way he stands, the way he watches you, the way he unconsciously moves closer, as if some invisible force keeps pulling him near. And here's what's fascinating. When a man deeply wants to kiss you, his body often reveals it long before he ever acts on it. His instincts begin speaking in silent signals, a lingering stare, a lowered voice, a pause that stretches just a little too long, a closeness that feels charged with meaning. Most women notice these signs, but many doubt themselves and dismiss what they feel. Don't, because the body rarely lies when attraction is real. In this conversation, we're going deeper into the hidden signals men show when desire, affection, and anticipation quietly build beneath the surface. And once you understand what to look for, you'll begin seeing those moments with completely new eyes, moments where a kiss may be closer than you think. One of the clearest signs a man is strongly drawn to you is surprisingly simple. He leans in, not because he has to, not because he can't hear you, and not because the room is crowded. He leans in because attraction naturally pulls people closer. Watch him carefully when you're speaking. Does his body angle toward you, even when others are around? Do his shoulders quietly turn in your direction, almost as if every part of him wants to face you fully? That's not a small detail. That is attention becoming physical. When a man feels deeply interested, distance begins to feel like a barrier he unconsciously wants to close. He may step a little closer while talking, remain near even when there's space to move away, or subtly find reasons to reduce the space between you. A shared glance over something in your hand, leaning close to hear a soft sentence, or standing just within that intimate zone where you can feel each other's presence more intensely. And here's what makes it powerful. Most of the time, he doesn't even realize he's doing it. His body is simply following what his emotions already know. Attraction has gravity. It creates a pull that logic cannot fully control. A man who feels magnetic chemistry with you will often look for closeness in quiet, natural ways, not rushed, not forceful, but steady and unmistakable. You may notice that when you slightly move away, he gently moves closer again without thinking. When you speak softly, he comes nearer, even if he heard every word perfectly well. When there's laughter, he stays in that close space instead of stepping back. These are silent choices his body is making because being near you feels good to him. It feels exciting. It feels warm. It feels like possibility. But there's something even deeper happening beneath that closeness. When a man leans in, he is often testing emotional distance as much as physical distance. He's quietly asking, do you welcome my presence? Do you feel this connection too? Is this closeness comfortable or electric? And in that space, tension begins to build, the kind that makes eye contact feel heavier, smiles feel softer, and silence feel full of meaning. This is where attraction becomes palpable, where two people begin sensing something unspoken between them. Women often underestimate how revealing this sign is because leaning in can seem innocent, casual, almost meaningless. But repeated closeness is rarely meaningless. Bodies move toward what they desire, what they admire, what they feel safe with, and what they secretly hope might move one step closer. So when a man consistently closes the distance, angles himself toward you, lingers near you, and seems naturally drawn into your space like it's the place he most wants to be, pay attention. His lips may say nothing, his voice may stay calm, but his body may already be confessing what his heart is trying not to make obvious, that being close to you is exactly where he wants to be, and perhaps, just perhaps, he's hoping closeness turns into something even more unforgettable. There is something incredibly revealing about a man's eyes, because while words can be carefully chosen, The eyes often tell the truth without permission. One of the strongest signs that a man feels a deep pull toward you is when his gaze keeps returning to your lips. It's subtle, quick, almost invisible if you're not paying attention, but once you notice it, it changes everything. Imagine you're in conversation. He's looking into your eyes, fully present, listening, smiling softly, and then for just a brief second, his eyes drift downward to your mouth before rising back up again. It happens fast, but the feeling it creates is unmistakable. That tiny glance carries weight. It carries curiosity, attraction, and often a quiet desire he may be trying hard to control. Because when a man is strongly drawn to a woman, he doesn't just notice her beauty. He begins noticing closeness. He starts imagining intimacy in its softest form, being near, feeling connected, and yes, sometimes wondering what it would feel like to kiss her. His eyes naturally betray that thought. What makes this signal powerful is that it often happens unconsciously. He may have no idea his attention keeps dropping to your lips, but his mind and body are responding to attraction in real time. And it's not only about where he looks, it's how he looks. Does his gaze become softer, more focused, more lingering, like he's completely tuned into every expression on your face? Does eye contact stretch a second longer than normal, creating that quiet tension that feels warm, exciting, and impossible to ignore? That combination, deep eye contact followed by a brief glance at your lips, is often one of the clearest signs that he feels chemistry building between you. You may also notice small pauses when he looks at you, moments where he seems to lose his train of thought for half a heartbeat. That's because attraction can make a person intensely aware of the moment. Suddenly, your smile feels brighter to him. Your voice sounds softer. Your presence becomes magnetic. And in that heightened awareness, his attention naturally settles on the most expressive parts of your face, your eyes, your smile, and your lips. Many women feel this shift instantly, but then dismiss it as imagination. Trust what you sense. Human connection speaks loudly in silence. If his gaze keeps returning to your mouth, if his eyes linger there for just a moment before meeting yours again, if eye contact feels charged, warm, and full of quiet intensity, that is not random attention. That is interest becoming visible. That is desire trying to stay respectful while still making itself known. Because before a man ever moves closer, before he ever speaks what he feels, before he acts on that attraction at all, his eyes often reveal exactly what's on his mind. And sometimes, in a single glance, they say more than words ever could. There is a moment when attraction changes the way a man speaks, and if you know what to listen for, it becomes one of the most powerful signals he can give without ever directly saying how he feels. It's subtle but unmistakable. Around a woman he feels deeply drawn to, his voice often begins to shift. He may speak a little slower, choosing his words more carefully, as though every sentence suddenly matters. His tone may become softer, warmer, and more intimate, not loud or attention-seeking, but calm in a way that gently pulls you in. Sometimes it becomes slightly deeper, not as an act, but because attraction changes breathing, changes tension in the body, and makes him more aware of himself. He starts speaking from a place that feels more grounded, more focused, more connected. And what makes this change so revealing is that it usually happens naturally. He may not even realize he sounds different around you than he does around everyone else. But attraction has a way of changing rhythm. A confident, playful man may suddenly become thoughtful and measured. A fast talker may slow down. A loud personality may become quieter, almost protective of the moment, as if he doesn't want to break the quiet connection building between you. Listen carefully to how he responds when you speak. Does he lean into the conversation with full attention, answering in a way that feels deeper, softer, and more personal? Does his laughter become gentler? His words more deliberate, his pauses longer, as though he's fully feeling the moment instead of rushing through it? Those pauses matter. Silence between two people is usually awkward unless attraction is present. Then silence becomes charged. It becomes a space where both people are suddenly aware of each other in a deeper way. He may pause after you speak, hold eye contact while thinking, smile slowly before answering, or let a quiet moment linger instead of quickly filling it with noise. That's often because he's emotionally present. He's feeling the connection, sensing the chemistry, and becoming aware that this moment with you feels different from ordinary conversation. Attraction slows time. It makes ordinary words feel meaningful. It makes simple moments feel intimate. You may also notice that his voice changes most when conversations become personal. When he asks deeper questions, when he talks about what matters to him, or when he compliments you in a way that feels sincere and full of quiet emotion. There is a softness in a man's voice when desire is mixed with genuine admiration. It's not only about physical attraction, it's about emotional pull, about feeling captivated by your presence. And women feel this instantly, even if they can't explain why his voice suddenly sounds different, why every word seems to land more deeply, why his tone feels like warmth wrapping around the moment. That is because voice carries emotion more honestly than words themselves. So if a man's tone becomes slower, deeper, softer, and more intentional around you, if conversations with him begin to feel rich with quiet tension and magnetic calm, pay attention. His mouth may be speaking casually, but his voice may be revealing what his heart is quietly feeling, that he's drawn in, fully present, and deeply affected by being near you. There is a powerful sign of attraction that most women notice but rarely understand, and that is when a man begins to mirror you. It sounds simple, almost too small to matter, yet in human connection, it can reveal deep interest more clearly than grand gestures ever could. Mirroring is when he unconsciously starts matching your energy, your movements, your rhythm, even the little things you do without thinking. You lean slightly closer, and moments later, he leans in too. You soften your voice, and somehow his voice becomes softer. You smile slowly, and his expression gently reflects that same warmth. You cross your arms casually, and soon his body finds a similar position. These tiny copies are not usually planned. He is not thinking, let me do what she does. His body is simply responding to connection. This happens because when a man feels strongly drawn to a woman, his mind becomes deeply tuned to her presence. He starts paying attention not only to what she says, but to how she says it, how she moves, how she expresses herself, how she makes him feel, and without realizing it, he begins syncing with her. That sync creates a sense of comfort, chemistry, and emotional closeness that feels almost magnetic. Suddenly, conversation flows easier. Silence feels softer. Laughter feels shared more deeply. The connection starts feeling natural, effortless, almost as if two people are moving in quiet harmony without trying. And that harmony is powerful because attraction is often less about dramatic sparks and more about feeling beautifully aligned with someone. Watch how he responds to your emotional energy. If you become playful, does he become playful too? If you speak gently, does his tone become gentler? If you relax, does he relax? If your eyes linger, do his linger longer? Mirroring is not just about posture, it's about rhythm. It's about emotional matching. It's about him unconsciously stepping into your world because being connected to your energy feels good to him. There is also something deeply intimate about being mirrored because it creates a quiet feeling of being understood. When someone naturally reflects your energy, you feel seen, you feel felt. You feel that rare connection where words become less important because there is already a silent understanding growing between two people. And often, when attraction is strong, mirroring becomes more noticeable the closer the emotional tension gets. He may start matching your pace when walking. He may pause when you pause. He may hold eye contact the same way you do. He may even begin using similar phrases or laughing in rhythm with you. These are all signs that his attention is deeply locked in. His body is telling you, without speaking, I feel connected to you. I enjoy your presence. I'm naturally moving toward your rhythm because something about you feels right. And when a man feels that kind of alignment, physical attraction often grows stronger because connection is no longer only visual. It becomes emotional, instinctive, and deeply felt. So when you notice a man subtly matching your movements, your tone, your mood, and your energy, don't dismiss it as coincidence. Very often, it is attraction quietly revealing itself through harmony, through the beautiful, silent language of two people slowly moving closer without even realizing they're doing it. Sometimes the strongest sign a man wants to kiss you is not what he does, it's what he doesn't do. He doesn't rush away. He doesn't break the moment quickly. He doesn't fill every silence with nervous talking. Instead, he lingers. And that lingering can say more than any bold move ever could. There is something powerful about a man who stays in the moment a little longer than necessary, especially when there is no obvious reason to remain. Maybe the conversation has naturally ended, yet he still stands there, eyes resting on you, smile soft, energy calm, as if leaving feels harder than staying. Maybe after a shared laugh, instead of instantly looking away, he holds eye contact just a second longer. Maybe when you're close, he doesn't create distance. He stays right there in that warm, quiet space between you, comfortable in the closeness, almost savoring it. These are not random moments. This is emotional tension building beneath the surface, because when a man feels deeply drawn to a woman, he often becomes caught between desire and hesitation. Part of him wants to move closer. Part of him wants to protect the moment. Part of him wonders, does she feel this too? Am I imagining this connection? Should I make a move or wait? And in that inner conflict, he pauses. He lingers. He remains present longer than normal because his heart is trying to read the moment before acting on it. That's why silence suddenly feels different. It becomes full, not empty. Charged, not awkward. In that silence, eye contact deepens. Breathing slows. Smiles become softer. The world around you starts fading into the background. And for a brief moment, it can feel like only two people exist in that space. This is often where attraction becomes undeniable. Not through words, but through presence. Through that beautiful hesitation where both people feel something meaningful, but neither has spoken it yet. You may notice him glancing at your eyes, then briefly at your lips, then back again. You may notice him standing close enough that stepping away would be easy, but he chooses not to. You may feel that he's fully there with you, emotionally and physically, giving the moment his complete attention. That kind of lingering is rarely casual. Men do not stay in emotionally charged moments unless something inside them wants more of that closeness. And here is what makes lingering so powerful. It reveals sincerity. Fast attraction rushes, real attraction pauses, it values the moment, it feels the weight of connection, it becomes careful because the feeling matters. A man who lingers is often not simply thinking about physical closeness. He's absorbing your presence, enjoying your energy, and silently hoping the moment stretches just a little longer because being near you feels deeply good to him. So when he doesn't rush away, when his eyes hold yours, when silence feels warm instead of empty, when time seems to slow in that shared space, pay attention. Because sometimes that pause is not hesitation at all. Sometimes it is anticipation, the quiet, beautiful space where attraction is at its strongest, and where one unforgettable moment may be only a heartbeat away. Attraction is rarely loud. It doesn't always arrive through dramatic words, bold moves, or obvious signs. More often it lives in the quiet moments, in the way he leans closer without thinking, in the way his eyes linger just a little too long, in the softness of his voice, in how naturally he mirrors your energy, and in those lingering pauses that feel charged with something neither of you has spoken out loud. That is where real chemistry often begins, not in what is said, but in what is silently felt. And the beautiful truth is this: when you understand body language, you stop guessing. You begin noticing the quiet clues most people miss. You start trusting your instincts when a moment feels different, when a glance feels deeper, when silence feels warm, and when someone's presence seems to pull you in without effort. That awareness changes everything, because confidence is attractive, and there is something deeply magnetic about a woman who understands the language of connection without chasing, forcing, or overthinking. She simply notices, and she knows. So if you've ever felt that electric pause, that unforgettable eye contact, or that moment when the whole room seemed to disappear for just a second, share your experience in the comments and write, "I knew." I'd love to hear your story. And if you enjoy deep insights into attraction, confidence, relationships, and the hidden signals people reveal without words, make sure you stay connected, because the next conversation may help you understand love, desire, and human connection in a way you never saw before.